Hey everybody, welcome to another video. This is going to be a review of doing replays. You go single player, little game, and it's for our little friends tournament. Still going to make this video public just so other people can see if they want to see a ranked example of Megarandom. So this is me against my opponent. The rest of our tournament videos will be unlisted just for us unless people want it public, but welcome if you found to try to get some more Age of Empires in, improve your games. This is low elo play. Just going to kind of view, lock, and watch me go through this again. Megarandom will select among a bunch of templates a random assortment of terrain and resources. Spirit of Law has awesome videos on YouTube, and one of them reviews the details of how Megarandom works. It's not completely random. Again, it's picking through a number of templates. One of the starts we see here does not include a scout, which is very normal for pretty much every map, with, I'm sure, some exceptions. Arabia is the most common, and you always start with a scout, so a cavalry unit with a sword. You can go around and find things and attack the enemy if you want. But with these horses, they cannot attack anything, so you can't get attacked early on or harass them. It still picks up sheep. This is us just giving the good luck, have fun. My videos are geared towards brand new players or rookies. I've got 6 on the sheep here, ideal for gathering. Portuguese got some early game bonuses like getting wood from the berries, so that's nice. And then all units cost 20% less gold in case you want to do a drush or a dark age rush with militia. It's the only unit you can produce. They can do other cool bonuses later as the game goes on, but opponent says he's a noob. So it's me too. Even though I've played over 150 games, still pretty new. Trying to get him some encouragement here because it's a tough game to play. So to our players in the tournament, thanks for joining us. You might lose a few doing the preliminaries, doing ranked online, but this is why I just want to show an example of what a Megarandom game could look like. We're just doing normal speed. In the replays you can do a number of things here, speeding it up, a couple different selections there, or even slower. Go back from the beginning and pause. You can change these, like having everything visible, or getting ready for Fog of War, and demo loop. We'll just do the regular view of what I saw as the game progressed. You can also look at your opponent. I'm not going to spend too much time there. The Gaia are just like the animals on the map. And then the ribbons, like I mentioned in the last video, give you a little bit more insights for who's producing what. You don't see this in the game, but you can see that if you want. I recommend it. You get to see the points and what age you're in. We're just luring the boar here, trying not to lose any of our villagers and keeping it closer to the town center. So that wasn't a great lure, and you know that just happens sometimes. This Megarandom here has a different assortment of resources and positionings than what some may be used to, and we'll see in a little bit too. There's a couple more boar around. So spacebar, that got me to see that notification there. I went over and found some of his sheep, so I'm bringing it towards me. You can see the little white parts on the mini-map here going towards my base. Now they're blue. White is just which ones I'm selecting, I think, so going through that. We're doing the mill. Did another house to make sure we don't get pop capped. You can force drop off if you need some more food. I just did that here, where normally they would have been gathering a little bit more. That's his horse, making sure he doesn't get too close. You want to have 8 on the board to maximize gathering potential for the boar. When it gets to about 150, I send one off to get another boar. You see there's 2 in the back. Usually there's just 2 total that you can find. For Arabia, there's 3 here. So lots of food options. Trying to keep a good distance, but make sure he follows me. You can shoot the boar and leave too quickly to where the boar goes back, so be careful with that. Luring the boar is not something you have to do in games, but it's highly recommended to get it as close as you can, trying not to lose villagers, and getting as much food as quickly as possible. And then I couldn't see any other animals. I like to bring other villagers out to go grab that food after the berries, but if not, I just use more sheep, just like in the last video. I've lost quite a few Megarandom games recently, and so I've had some tough ones facing as other civilizations or even the Portuguese. I did have a bug with OBS, and so any of you that want to do a OBS ranked video, just be mindful of I couldn't select the corners. It's the first time that's happened to me, I think. Usually it's fine. I've done a million videos with OBS, but if that ever happens, just be mindful of learning your hotkeys, because I couldn't click anything on the bottom left, couldn't click anything on the bottom right either, so control groups can be helpful. Couldn't use the mini-map. Pretty rare, pretty tough. Alright, we just got Loom here because we're at the top of our 20 population. This icon will blink, letting you know that it is time to age up. You can of course just understand when you have 500 food, you're good to age up, and so Z hotkey lets you do that real quick. Get another boar, getting minimum damage to our villagers. If you lose one, it's no big deal. You know, more professional play, it's a bigger deal. But 3 to 5 on berries, depending on how much you want. Berries are a very slow resource to gather food from. Excuse me. Again, Portuguese get a little bit of wood to help you out. You can do 2 to 4 on the tree line, putting the lumber camp as close as you can to that, 2 on each side if you can. A lot of this depends on what your plan is. You know, it's not good to float like tons of resources, but sometimes you can put that into a number of things to help out, like upgrading to double bit axe the moment you get to feudal age. That helps for the lumber camp and the lumberjacks going faster. Getting another house so we don't get housed immediately into the next age. That's important. And then getting everybody, when they're done with their food sources, to more food or to trees, straggler trees they call them for the close-ups. We are facing the Teutons that don't have any Dark Age bonuses that I recall, but their farms are super cheap, negative 40%, which is really nice when you get to feudal and run out of your free, quote-unquote, food sources. Alright, putting a couple in the front so we can get some outposts going. Got another house down, trying not to get pop capped. I've also done a build where, like in the last game, I'll build a forward barracks and start harassing. Me and my opponent have started very close to each other. On this mini-map, there's a green ring that mostly works for Arabia, but it can show you a potential area that your player may spawn in. That's just a mod. This game might look different than your game, and that's just mods or options, settings you can adjust. That is all free to do and legit for our tournament, because anyone can do those. If you have concerns, let me know. You can see grids, or turn them off, or make them darker if you want for building. That can help with walling if you want to make sure you get all your walls together and there's no holes. It's frustrating when cavalry just runs into a hole after you spend a ton of time on doing walls. Alright, it's been a while since I've done one of these. So yep, see the different things that we are researching. So I'm blue, I've already done, I believe, double bit axe, wheelbarrow, tells us here, villager, mining camp, horse collar, wheelbarrow, outpost built. Horse collar is the farm upgrade. You can build that before you build your first farm, or research it before you put down a farm. And the moment you click it, you'll be good to put down a farm, because once it's complete, the farm will be upgraded. So that's just order of events, mill and then farm. And yes, we have some berries left, but it can be good to start on some farms as we're out of sheep and boar. On this map, you'll notice there is a little bit of water in the center. Megarandom has a lot of potential for that, and so fish is a great source of food. Do have to get a dock, so extra wood for that. We're still floating a bit of wood here. Food's fine to float because we want that to upgrade, or age up to the next age, I should say, which you need quite a bit here. You need 800 food and 200 gold to go to castle age. So I've got a couple on gold, mining camp close to get that. Some stone, which you don't have to do, but that helps me knowing if I need to put down a defensive castle or a forward castle or towers to use that. He was scouting a little bit too close to the enemy base here, trying to put down some outposts, so I have vision. Ethiopians are good for extra vision and no stone. So that is nice. Technologies research 25% faster for the Portuguese. That's a nice plus for your economy and for your military eventually. I'm putting up a tower because I saw he had some militia, and they are coming. And I started to build some militia myself. Again, they're 20% cheaper on the gold, so that helps being able to do that. Again, we're just view locked, so whatever I'm looking at is what we're seeing. We may not see all the things that happen as they go on. But he's coming out. Notice he changed a little bit. That is a man-at-arms. So he upgraded his militia to man-at-arms. It's smart. Mine should be on the way. When you see a building with that gold kind of animation going up, that means something is being researched. So he's doing good, trying to take out some villagers. I notice it, but the villager in the town center, they fire arrows when you do that. barely took him out. That ring gives you a range that you and your opponent can see as long as they have the setting turned on. That's not even a mod, as I recall. It's just an option at this stage in the game. Developers add things over time that help the players do a little bit better if they want with things. Don't have to worry about micromanaging everything like auto farming or automatically seeding farms, auto seed. That's a button you should never press like once it's on, so that they can just automatically do this. If you turn it off, you just got to do it manually each time. Occasionally we'll see here that they'll stop, and that's because I've run out of wood. It costs 60 wood each time you put down a farm, and it refreshes after a certain amount of food. I think it's 75 to 125 after that upgrade, and they carry +1 when you get that too. Teutons again with 40% off, makes it really nice, as well as all the awesome bonuses they have, like extra garrison capacity for town centers and towers, like we saw the villagers going in here to heal up and stay protected. The Teutons can put even more in their towers and their town centers. Anything that has an arrow, so villagers or like skirmishers, archers, they can shoot from these buildings, the town centers and the towers. If you have militia, they can stay hidden in there and heal up, but they can't fire any arrows because they don't have them. Alright, what else? Teutons are resistant to conversion. They have one of the coolest unique units in the game, the Teutonic Knight. Portuguese have the organ guns, probably been balanced more than most unique units in the game. Just trying to make sure it's good for a medieval group of civilizations. It is gunpowder. Whenever you have gunpowder, you gotta balance it good for a game. This is a game first and history second, I guess. History is a lot of fun to be able to keep track of, and it encourages me to learn more about this game. Like the Portuguese, they have a bonus called circumnavigation. It sets the entire map to explored. Ships train 33% faster. That matches with their history of being able to come up with trade routes before a lot of others, helping the Spanish and the French and the UK get encouraged to go around the world and colonize and do all their stuff. Why a lot of us speak English and Spanish nowadays, and Portuguese. Alright, so we just saw that I went a little too close, lost some guys, and he's got quite a bit of troops that he revealed, so I start building, as we can see on the top left here, and what's going on the right. Some skirmishers, counter the archers, man-at-arms to counter his troops here, man-at-arms. Skirmishers also go down from man-at-arms as long as you can chase them. Infantry have gotten quite a few buffs over the years, so they can run just as fast as the archer units. Catch them as long as you upgrade them from militia. Once I get to Castle Age, I like to build town centers to help boom faster. 2 TC boom, adding 2 town centers, as long as you got 275 wood and 100 stone for each one. And that way you can build villagers faster, as long as you're not totally under attack. So we've got my outpost villager taking out his villager. He was doing a mining camp, I believe. Still trying to get vision, see what's going on. If I lose villagers, I try to replace them, get stuff going on down there. In this, we can't see my control group, sadly, in the replay, but I've got a number of those for the horses scouting, for the villagers that are out and about, so I can bounce between those. So there's my troops that I'm making to make sure I'm ready for if he decides to attack. Tried to corner this villager with my other outpost villager. Don't believe I succeeded. He still snuck away. And so they all go the same speed. Squires is something you can research to make your barracks units go faster as well, 10% more quickly, which helps with chasing down those ranged units that don't get a speed buff, as far as I recall. You can use the blacksmith to do other armor and attack bonuses. Research those. So caught them right before you see a flag on top of his town center. It means he could fire against my villagers, so good thing I didn't go into that ring too much. Trying to keep them safe. Murder holes in herbal medicine are free for 2 Teutons. Monks have 100% healing range, like that. Alright, so this is me trying to go up, take out some of his guys. He's got some spearmen that helps against cavalry, which I don't have. But he's got a good flow of units coming my way, so I'm going to retreat back to the tower to give me a little bit of extra attack against his units if he decides to pursue. So at the moment, he either is not, or I've lost that extra vision because he destroyed my outposts. Fog of War is there, like most RTS games. The Teutons also get extra melee armor on their barracks and stable units. And yes, it's melee and not melee. I finally looked that up a month or two ago. Got tired of saying both of them because I didn't know which it was. It's like a French word. So here's another outpost villager trying to take down his proxy mining camps, I guess is what you can call it. Just throwing camps around the map to try to secure these extra resources. The mini-map is now more available to us here. The forces have done a great job running around, seeing what's going on. These relics on the map we want to get for extra gold if we want, for the monks. In custom games like the tournament that we're going to be doing, relics can initiate a win condition. On the top right, a ribbon will come down, and after a certain amount of time, you can win getting all the relics. But in ranked games, that does not count. It's just for extra gold. And extra bonuses for certain civilizations like the Lithuanians for extra attack. So this is the farm problem I talked about. If I'm running low on wood because I built those extra town centers and other buildings like the monastery for those monks to pick up relics, university to help me age up to the imperial age, get extra bonuses later, or research, I'm starting to really run low on wood. And so that's why these farms are not getting reseeded. So really distracts me. I don't like having idle villagers. I am trying to secure these extra relics on the map. Very unusual placement for the 2 there. I don't think that's his doing at all. I think that was just a weird map placement. It's not often you see that. Some Megarandom maps can have millions of relics, or very few. I've, probably picked up like over 20 on one game I did. It was like Malians versus Malians a couple years ago. It's memorable. Other bonuses, the Teutons have ironclad, siege weapons, +4 melee armor, almost just did it again, love it. Crenellations, castles +3 range, garrison and infantry fire arrows, awesome. So he has a real scout down now, get more going on, and so with this I know I need to build some spearmen in case he commits, because the other units aren't able to quite do the bonus damage needed against them. Units have different bonus damages against other units. He did stop microing there, so I was able to take him out. But yeah, spearmen I think have the greatest bonus damage against their counters for cavalry at like +28, +32, something crazy like that once you get up to halberdier if you have access, which Portuguese do and Teutons do. I think that's all the bonuses for the Teutons. They have a lot of them. Portuguese can build the Feitoria, sorry if I say it wrong, in Imperial Age. That's a building that you can get resources from automatically at the cost of 20 population. Okay, that's his market, barracks, me just picking up information as I can. The scout, is he still alive? Monks, I try to hotkey to 1, keep them alive. They're 100 gold each, so they're kind of expensive. We're trying to get to 800 gold and 1,000 food to age up to Imperial. Getting pop cap though. With those extra town centers, the pop cap happens a lot sooner, where you're housed, and you got to get some more houses, unless you're the Huns. Get that going. Inca can help with that too if it's a problem for you. They can get +10 population. Slavs +5 for the military. Buildings. Me trying to get some more gold here, but also needing to get more farms, so sending back some of those. Yeah, I think the gold's fine. That's why the gold ones are converting to farmers. Stone, we definitely have enough for a castle. Put that down. That also qualifies to get to Imperial Age if you want, versus the monastery and university I mentioned before. Knights are on the field. That's dangerous, so again, being mindful of that. So monks are great against them, and then again the spearman line. Pikemen would be the next upgrade. Arquebus, gunpowder units fire more accurately at moving targets. That's the Portuguese Imperial Age tech, so that's awesome. They also get a caravel warship, and their ships get extra HP as you age up automatically. So that's all of their bonuses. There's a Arctic fox fighting my villagers. Not to be confused with other foxes, like regular ones on Arena that show up a lot, that give you gold, actually, nowadays, if you gather that. You don't have to have a mining camp to get it. So it's, again, regular foxes, not the Arctic fox, which is considered a wolf type Pokemon. Just kidding, not a Pokemon, seeing if you're paying attention here. Okay, the score down here, I'm starting to pick away a little bit, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. He's getting some good villager pickups. I gotta delete this tower to get some resources back. The sooner you do that, the better for getting resources back, if you know you're not going to commit to a building or something. You saw his HP go down incredibly there. That's because of the spearmen. Probably pikemen at this point. But, yeah, anyway. Okay, looks like I'm researching pikemen now. I see it there on the list. So I am the blue going up to Imperial. So you just pick one of your town centers to do Imperial Age, the other ones continue to do villagers or getting handcart. That's the next upgrade from wheelbarrow, or town watch, town patrol. There you go, bring the knights down fast. I love to capture those with monks if I can, but don't want to lose any of my guys in the process. And don't worry, this is a game that doesn't go on for too long, but I want to keep it normal speed so you guys can get an idea of how everything goes for low elo. So this is the normal 1.7 speed, so it's not like 1-for-1. So as I understand it, it's not a like 33-minute game. It's a little bit lower than that. Don't do math on stream. That's what people say. It is a recording, but alright. So he put a monastery down in a mining camp so he can get close to that relic. I noticed it a little later, so he's still got the monastery up. Try to get these villagers any way I can. Castle's up too with that stone that we had slowly gathered over time. This map had a lot less stone. I think they're kind of tucked away in the corners. You can see down there. He's good to run his villagers away. Don't think I got any. You can usually see there when they get hit for a bit. Just like that fox I can still see right there. Alright, still haven't gone for that fish yet. Neither has my opponent. Castles can also let you research conscription, which makes everything research 33% faster for your military buildings, not including the siege workshop. It's a fantastic bonus that you should always get as soon as you can, as long as you know you're leaning into military, because they all produce faster. That's that organ gun. It's one of the most unique units in the game for sure. Crazy looking. But this is me slowly trying to rip away at the buildings. The men-at-arms are better for that. Looks like I didn't have too many down there because I switched to more spearmen for the barracks for his cavalry. The villagers get in danger close to that fog of war in his part of the map. We gotta be ready for that. He's still in Castle Age, as we see here, so he is not yet researching that. Still getting bow saw upgrade for lumber camp. As long as you're safe, I really like to lean into eco upgrades so you can have a solid Imperial Age or post-Imperial Age, so you have a lot of money flowing to be able to take people out. Market if you need to for selling. Last resort. Yeah, having that wood problem again, even with 26 on wood. Organ guns cost wood and gold as well. And they are definitely worth their price, but 80 wood and 70 gold is a more expensive unique unit with 1,200 food and 500 gold for an upgrade cost. At 45 seconds, definitely takes a bit. Teutonic Knights are a bit cheaper, which is helpful because they are slow, but they are beefy. They are tough to deal with. So careful with your building. Sometimes you can trap in villagers. Not a big deal going for gold there. I tend to overdo it on gold early on because I'm trying to age up. But as the game goes on, gold becomes even more valuable as you run out. And you start getting siege units, which are even more expensive, like trebuchets at 200 gold, 200 wood. Here's my little strike group. They got the monastery and camp, which is great. But these are the knights. This is the upgraded man-at-arms to longsword, I believe. Castle Age version. And he takes out my troops down there. So battles like that will bring up your points quite a bit. I'm still leading a lot due to the economy, but a good economy doesn't matter if he hits you with a good military. So noting that he had knights, there's my market for late game exchanges. Get the, I think it's called guilds early on if you know you're going to be using it, if it's a longer game. If not, it is kind of pricey, including gold. 300 food, 200 gold. It is called guilds. Reduces the market trading fee to 15%. Some people encourage you never to get it. It just depends on how fast your game is. Alright, we got halberdiers now for the cavalry. We still need more troops. This is not enough. Tower can help with some defense, but if he comes at me with too many horses or something quick, I am a goner. I have no walls to protect all this. You can slowly wall with some of your buildings in a way, but I did not go for that. This is me finally committing to a dock, because the food count is super low, even with 35 on it. It is the lowest I have, because I'm still building villagers. They encourage at least over 100, even 130. Pros might even go higher. So just constantly be building that. If you can hotkey your town centers together, I put it on my scroll button on my mouse. You just constantly do it out of habit. You know, you hit scroll, you hit Q, Q to queue them up. Scroll, Q, like every little bit. You just keep going on to that. And you can see the production here, so 111. And so as that goes up, you want to replace it again and keep going. Eventually I trail off and switch more to military, especially as we keep getting pop-capped, which you get reminded of multiple times. Alright, trying to keep the monks safe. I did spot a castle. Watch again that ring. It's not perfect for the range. It can go outside a little bit if he's got a target on you just before. That, I believe, is the two-handed swordsman after the long swordsman, right before the champion. That's the highest for the barracks unit you can get. The last upgrades for certain lines are very expensive, like the halberdier, the hussar, from the scout cavalry to the light cavalry to hussar, and that's militia line like I mentioned before. Here's a defensive castle, trying to get some more villagers on it because I see that he has on the mini-map here a blob of red units going from my outpost, trying to do a sneak attack. Very smart, because I started to move in on him here. I decided to pull units over to the west to deal with that ahead of time. So very tough for him to go all the way around, but it's worth it if I don't see it, or if he can pick some stuff up. Still leading on score, but it doesn't matter if my unit count is too low. I've got about 26 military, or 22? 22? No, 26, yep. Because the 160, that's the total amount I could do based on those houses, and castles will give you an extra 20 population, which is awesome, but be careful if they die, because then you lose a lot of population capacity very quickly. Minimap, I see his group of troops have just taken out my last outpost on the west, and so I am blind there. He could come at any moment. So I noticed, I think earlier, that he did not commit to keeping going this way. He went back down there, so I decided to switch back over here. Kind of risky, because again it leaves this side kind of defenseless, other than the castle. And without good siege, he can't go too far, but there is some stuff that is outside of the protective range. Plus, if I don't have murder holes, that's for firing directly down from the tower or castle. The militia line can come up and start to tear down the castle, which takes a while, especially when the Portuguese have a great assortment of bonuses, the masonry and architecture, to increase HP on their castles and buildings. They don't have hoardings, though, just checked. That gives an extra 1,000 HP. So castles. Fishing, whether by villagers for the shore fish, or deep fish. Deep water fish are even better when you get the fishing boats out there for getting more food up. With 45 on there, I'm still not having a ton, but it's now the highest, so that tends to fluctuate as you move things around. Now my gold is much lower as anticipated, because I do have siege coming out. This first trebuchet, second trebuchet, more organ guns to shred packs of troops. It's good to, I have a couple phones up at the moment. It's nice to see what can counter these things. So cavalry and mangonel line, the catapults, can attack the organ guns and do very well. Monks with redemption can convert them from afar too. Alright, so there's his troops. He's got elite Teutonic Knights. They've got new skins that you can tell from a distance what they are. Cavalry's trying to come in, but we've got too much gunpowder, too many halberdiers, too many champions. Teutonic Knights will shred the front, but the organ guns will give a good hit on them. They have tons of melee armor, but not enough pierce armor, and that's for the range stuff, so that's why they're going down. So he had a good force, but I had a good force too. Hand cannoneers, gunpowder from the back. The skirmishers can help deal with those. He's a little close for comfort for that. The knights are coming in again, but a little late. I did lose quite a few, but still plenty of guys hitting him before the poor knights can't even get up there. They're the slow-walking terror, but they just get shredded if there's not enough, or the counters aren't quite what they need. He's got some villagers coming out too. He's probably just selecting everything he can there. Trebuchets, I tried to target some of the units in the battle and not just the castle. Bombard cannons are coming out too. So a more expensive mobile version that doesn't hit quite as hard and dies faster than the trebuchet. Nice to mix in, especially with the extra gunpowder bonus. Now this was the surprise I had. I saw it on the minimap first, I think, that I'm on fire. His attack group did commit. Very smart. So I started to split off, keeping some troops here to keep up the pressure, but knowing that I can't lose everything over there. So I tend to select all armory maybe more than I should, but you can split if you need to there, because he doesn't have too much, but enough to cause some terror here. Be careful with those trebuchets. I'm trying to get some villagers. Raiding can be good in the late game. So trebuchets are normally not great at hitting units. Sometimes they hit them, and that's fun. They're better for buildings. They've got a quote-unquote 100% accuracy against castles, but it diminishes on the size of the building, so it gets smaller and smaller. For like a house, can be hard to hit. Huns deal with that really well. They've got more accurate trebuchets that's a free bonus. Werewolf or Woolwolf for the British or Britons, they can research that. It's very expensive, but that increases their accuracy against units. Alright, so we're still building some troops. Got 22 on the battlefield after those big battles. See, that's where you can see just the outcome of everything. The little chess game. Everybody's slowly fading away. So I need to get more units protecting these guys. They're kind of vulnerable. But we're trying to take down the other castle on the right. We took out this one here, as well as the town center, which is a good pickup. Score is massively changing. Spirit of Law also does a evaluation of score. Can't tell everything. If you do really well in a certain battle, but you may be losing in other parts of the game, like be aware of that. He's producing, for example, a ton of military units. I'm going behind on that. He could surprise me and overwhelm me if I'm not careful. So building a castle to help defend the gold here in the middle, and to help defend the troops. I like to do map control, slow pushes. It's a lot to keep track of everywhere, like we saw with the west problem. I've got some mining, some gold out there since I was running lower. Now we're doing great on the resource balance. Again, don't trickle units in. That can be a problem. If you have your setting on aggressive stance, it's like a preloaded setting that you can turn off. I turned mine off so I can make things more intentional like this. This is awesome. This is exactly the problem that I was worried about, that I didn't have units protecting this. There is a castle, and now we're moving over. But if he committed to that, he could pick up some trebuchets. I think he's just trying to keep him safe. But this was a great force, but running right into this, again, gunpowder, castles. I try to keep the trebuchets safe. He's got some skirmishers coming a little bit later. Hitting the wrong unit, though. That's harder to kill a champion. Now he's going down. They're just all dropping, and he's done. Yep. So he GG'd. We can't see the text after that, but GG just means good game. WP after that means well played. So good game, well played. That's kind of just the assortment of what we had going on here. So I like to do a mix of units. Hera, which is arguably the best player in the world, recommends to not do a mix of units to make sure you're putting upgrades into the right ones. Because I'm at a lower elo, and I tried to keep an idea of what's on the map, like with those outposts before, I do an assortment and then do things based on the strengths of my civilization and what I'm trying to counter. So something to take out a bunch of skirmishers could be like the scout cavalry line, hussars, or the champions that we had. Arbalesters or the hand cannoneer are an example of what skirmishers can counter from afar. They have lots of pierce armor. You can look at the stats here. 4+2 is the pierce. It says on the left. I'm pointing at my screen, even though you can't see my finger pointing at the screen. Had a coworker that did that a lot and liked saying that. Yeah, so that's what we got going on. This we didn't even hit 200, not even close, so it wasn't a super long game, but that's Megarandom. Just seeing the difference. Oh, that's much better stone over there. So that's probably part of the build, is figuring out, do you want to go this way and attack each other directly, or do you want to control more of the map where more of the resources are? And by more, I mean some. I had deforested this whole area here, so it used to be full of wood. But yeah, anyway, hope that helps for a Megarandom example for our tournament players and just anyone else who wanted to watch, get an idea of some noobs going at it. He did a great job. Definitely some times that he could have overwhelmed me. Just trying to keep up the defense and the offense and not getting too crazy with stuff. But yeah, thanks for joining. Here's the stats real quick. Economy is misleading because by the end of the game, if you lose a bunch, it goes down a bunch. So it's not totally reliable, but other things are pretty good. Only had one conversion. I love using monks for conversions, but didn't do quite as much there. The ranged units, again, Portuguese just shred things from a distance, so didn't need too much of that. Otherwise, their monastery is really good. They have everything except for illumination, which reduces the amount of faith that you need to convert a unit. It's like energy. I'll reload. So age up times, research, some extra relic gold. Again, this is what some might call a red herring. Like, don't rely entirely on relics to do the work for you. If we saw the economy, you get so much more from mining. And then the fail-safe in the late game can be that relic gold over time, and also just the market for selling, which you get horrible exchange rates later on, but it's better than nothing, especially if you don't need too much wood or food eventually. See, he did so well with that military ratio. I think just finding ways to push sooner could have challenged me a bit more. I was just really focusing on the economy to keep strong units at the end game, and that's what dropped his troops at different battles. Like right there. Alright, thanks for joining us for the replay run-through Megarandom example. You are welcome to use OBS for this tournament if you want, or whatever screen capture that you'd like to do. If you don't have a YouTube account, you're welcome to send those to me or my friend Tyler, and we can upload those to the shared playlist. Thanks everyone else for joining me. Enjoy the other videos on the channel. Like, comment, subscribe, all the good things. I know not a lot of people go here and view stuff, so I appreciate you if you came by to say hi. Alright, thanks. Have a good day. Bye-bye.